Hello, I'm CubsRule21. This is Yakuza Kiwami 2 New Game Plus Legend. We're playing on Legend mode, which was unlocked after beating the game once, and New Game Plus to carry that save file over. It's a completed save file. We'll get into what that means later. We're going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1 now. Know that on Legend, enemies have more HP, they deal more damage, and if you die, you cannot restart a checkpoint. You have to restart from a save. So the run is essentially over if we die, because we don't save. So, at the start here, we're just getting some backstory on some events that happened about 20 years in the past between a Korean gang, we don't know much about them, and the Tojo clan. That'll come back more later. Yakuza 2 takes place about a year after Yakuza 1. At the end of Yakuza 1, our adopted father, Shintaro Kazuma, is killed, so we're here at the anniversary of his death, and for some reason, we're attacked by the Omi Alliance. How dare they attack somebody at the graveyard? Nice thing about this game is, if you're in a New Game Plus, I mean, obviously you've done the tutorial, so the game lets you skip the tutorial. Ooh, real nice start, actually. Real nice tutorial section. So, they tried to kill us at the graveyard. Instead, they shot a guy there with us by the name of Yukio Terada, who is, at the end of Yakuza 1, was made the 5th chairman of the Tojo clan. We'll get into... He'll come back around later, but just know, they shot and killed him at the graveyard, of all places, which is, kind of sacred. So, we have no idea what's going on. There's an acting head of the Tojo clan who decides the best way to get through this right now is to try and make peace with the Omi because they've been attacking us here in Kamurocho. So, we go out looking for Daigo Dojima, the son of our former family chairman, to get him to help us go to Osaka and make peace with the Tojo clan. Another tutorial here that we don't care that much about. We've got 3 weapons that we're going to use over the course of this run. We've got 2 swords. One is a lightsaber. One is a magical fire sword that deals damage to everything it touches, including us. There's a reason for that, and we'll get into that shortly. And a gun there, just a short-range pistol. All 3 are endgame rewards that are infinite ammo weapons, so we don't ever have to worry about them breaking. Skipping a cutscene here, we can't skip this text box, which is very annoying. We've got this little run-up. We're trying to find Daigo. Also equipped, we've got 3 pieces of armor, the Bloody Binding, the Blood-Soaked Chainmail, and the Payback Ring, because the 3 of them together give a bonus to your stats that gives you the highest possible attack power. The Payback Ring as well has a secondary function where it will increase your attack based on how much damage you've taken. So, less HP we have, the more attack, so that Magical Katana, the fire sword that deals damage to us, helps bring our HP down in a somewhat controlled method to increase our attack power. This is Daigo Dojima. He's got kind of a big head at the moment, so we've got to bring him back down to earth a little bit. The flames from the katana help stun lock him in place, so 1 round of attacks and we take care of it. So again, we've got max attack, max health, max defense, and max heat. Excuse me, because we're on the New Game Plus file. So this is a very quick boss fight. This is the Feel the Heat after an HP gate, kind of just a cinematic at the end of the fight. We take care of Daigo. We've got a couple of cutscenes to skip. He's not interested in helping us with the Omi Alliance, but he does want to go to Osaka to deal with Ryuji Goda, a Omi family chairman who set him up in the past. So We get to Osaka. Daigo's just kind of runs off to do his own thing to try and find Ryuji. We don't really have anything to go off of, so we just get attacked by this guy for no reason. I guess we say we peacocked his mom, whatever that means, I have no idea. We get stopped after the fight by that guy in the purple suit named Kurakawa. He'll come back later, but for now, he just tells us that if we go to the Cabaret Grand, might be able to get some more information about the Omi Alliance. Please let me through. Thank you. That fight spawn was a little bit worrying. Excuse me. We get into the Cabaret Grand. We try to go to the VIP section. We're told we're not allowed in there. So we're going to head back to Kurakawa to see if he can help us get into the VIP section. Fight spawns are present on the map, as you just saw. The game likes to have one come right out of the golf center to our left. There it is. But we're far enough that we don't care at this point. We talk to Kurakawa, we cutscene skip away, and it despawns the fight. So we're able to just run back over the Grand. He made a phone call and has put us on whatever list is necessary to get into the VIP section. Excuse me. Once we get to the VIP section, we're going to run into Ryuji Goda. Say that 3 times fast. Ryuji, at least, feigns, or pretends to not know who we are. Some of his flunkies are not happy with how we treat Ryuji, so they decide they're going to teach us a lesson. And, again, this is still basically a glorified tutorial. You can guess how that goes. After this fight, we head outside. Ryuji kind of hints at something that might be happening in Kamurocho. So we head outside, and there's something going on that everybody is worried about. There's a big TV at the end of the street here that's got a news broadcast, so we're going to just try and figure out, we're following everybody to find out what's going on. In the cutscenes we're about to skip here at the end of the chapter, we find out that a bomb has gone off at the Millennium Tower in Kamurocho. Nobody really knows why, but, I mean, it was a terrorist attack on the Millennium Tower. Nothing we can do because we're in Osaka right now. Excuse me, we're in Sotenbori. So we're just gonna go try and meet with with the Omi Alliance to try and make peace with everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. Daigo's much more interested now, knowing that we ran into Ryuji and he wants his revenge. We get a cutscene here at the Osaka Police Department. There's a detective by the name of Sayama Kaoru. Kaoru Sayama, excuse me. Japanese names are hard. That is trying to get close to the Tojo clan and has placed us under her protective custody as a ruse to get through, in that somebody from the Omi Alliance is trying to kill us. I mean, we're here in the Omi Alliance HQ. Clearly, that's not too much of an issue right now. Couple of cutscenes to skip. We're trying to make peace. Ryuji doesn't want us to make peace, so he stops everything. He kidnaps his father, the Omi Alliance clan chairman, and sticks his goons on us. That one that ran behind me is very annoying. We deal with these couple of fights here. HP, I think, should be okay. I don't want to be too... I want to be low here, but I don't want to be too low. That one guy that got behind me is very annoying. Alright, okay. Oh, you're not dead. I thought you were dead. That's annoying. Cutscene. Now we're actually into the set piece of the Omi Alliance HQ. We just have to escape and rescue Chairman Goda. We're going to shoot the first 2 enemies here. Switch to our sword. Run through these 2 to the rest of the enemies. To deal with some of these guys. That was okay. It wasn't great, but that was okay. Lets them kind of gang up together and make it easier to take them all out at once. We just have to dodge their random attacks. Quick fight here where we also are introduced. Whenever you're walking through a double set of double doors in this game, it's always faster to go through the middle of the two than to either side. So we can skip the knife-throwing enemies here. We don't care about them. We only care about the guys with couches. And as we run here, we have a grate that's thrown up behind us, or essentially what is a grate, blocking our path, and we've got to deal with these guys in front of us now. There's another one behind them that we'll have to take care of to move on. That was the wrong enemy that was just stabbed. That's unfortunate. So we bust this down, and now we can continue through OHQ, head down these stairs. In this hallway, we do have to kill the two knife-throwing enemies, or it won't let us destroy the barrier back there. That's annoying that it missed. If you get too close to the barrier, it will put away your sword, and attacking it with your fists is quite a bit slower. Through one more door, we've got one more set of fights here. Deal with these guys. I mean, this is basically Baby's first set piece. Actually went through the door on the left. That's unfortunate. Alright, that's the last guy. Well, not the last couch guy, but for the moment, we're fine. If you see that chandelier there, game really wants you to know it's there. There is a special heat action that will take out all of these enemies, but it's very slow. So instead, we're just going to take our gun and shoot them all, because most of them die to a single hit. We do have to be a little careful, because there are a couple enemies that try to be jerks, hide, and kick plants at us, which knock us down and slow us down. We made it through. We've got these last set of enemies that have kidnapped the chairman. Excuse me. And then a quick cutscene to skip. And then we get into our first fight with Ryuji. Ryuji is known as the Dragon of Kansai. Kiryu is the Dragon of Dojima. I guess it's like a Highlander thing where you can only have one at a time. So just like with Daigo, the flames are going to stun lock Ryuji. And it gets our health down actually low enough right where we want it to be. We do the QTE. We've got to hit Ryuji to trigger the Feel the Heat. And after this, that's the end of the chapter. Ryuji's men, after this, Kaoru comes flying in, because someone's out there trying to kill us again. And she grabs us and drives us off to safety. Takes us back into Sotenbori. Daigo has been kidnapped by the Goryu clan, along with Chairman Goda. Meantime, back in Kamurocho, Date, who's no longer on the police force, is being asked to go undercover to investigate the Korean gang from earlier. When we get back to Osaka, Kaoru gets shot by a sniper. So she tells us, before she passes out, to go find a nurse named Tamio, who's a bartender at a local bar. Notably, we left Kaoru bleeding out in the car. Keep that in mind. We found the bar, we found Tamio, and for some reason is the one that's smart enough to say, why the hell don't you have Kaoru with you? Go back and get her. So now we've got to run back to the car and get Kaoru. We don't care about that fight spawn. Good. In fact, it's actually better that that one sees us, because only one fight spawn can be aggroed onto you at a time. So as long as that one's aggroed onto us and chasing after us, if there's a fight spawn here, there is not. But if there's another fight spawn there, it would not be able to aggro onto us. We're going to get to the car and grab Kaoru. And now we've got to get Kaoru to the bar. If we run into NPCs, it'll cause that health gauge above her to deplete faster. If we run into these NPCs like that one there with a purple dot on the minimap, it'll start a conversation that we have to skip our way through, and it is not a short conversation. There's a second one coming up in front of the bar, or the the red car back here, so we've got to swing wide to avoid him. And then we just have to get Kaoru back to the bar. There's two methods of skipping cutscenes in this game, or sort of cutscenes. One, you just saw pausing and skipping a cutscene. Two, if there's text boxes, you can hold R1 and mash X to text skip and clear those boxes out faster than you normally would. So, Tamio is working on Kaoru. We just have to wait until she's done and Kaoru wakes up. Now, Tamio is eventually going to call us. That's not a fight spawn, is it? No, okay, good. Tamio is eventually going to call us and ask us to pick up some bandages from the drugstore because she ran out. We have to wait 1 minute in-game time to get one phone call, which is, I think it's Date telling you that they don't know where Daigo is. I haven't seen that phone call. I actually don't know what it is. The second phone call is going to be Tamio asking you to purchase the bandages, which is what adds the bandages to the inventory here in the store. So we have to wait a minute in-game each time for each phone call. Any text boxes, any fight spawns, anything stops that timer, so we just have to sit here and wait. We wait in first person because if we're outside of first person, if we're just standing there doing nothing, eventually the game will spawn a few text boxes to remind you of where you're supposed to be going. And again, that stops the timer. So this is essentially about 60 to 90 seconds, where it's great time for the host to pop in donations, messages, any kind of updates from the charity, incentives, anything they've got to say. We just have to wait essentially 2 minutes. Once we get the second phone call, we can buy the bandages and then taxi back down toward the bar. But that's coming up here in a moment. Probably about another 15 seconds or so. Yeah, should be about another 5 seconds. There it is. There it is. Could not hit the pause button. That was annoying. Alright, we buy the bandages. And we head back to the taxi that we came in at to go back to the bar. No fight spawn. Good. I don't know if fight spawns can actually appear at this section, to be honest. The taxi list is actually one of the biggest potential spots to lose time, especially if you run multiple Yakuza games, because every Yakuza game has the taxi list in a different order and different taxis available. None are the same. In fact, a couple of them are just completely reversed. So, Tamio has finished with Kaoru. She's woken up, and she wants us to go meet an informant that she has to try and find out information on who shot her. The informant is at a mahjong parlor, so we're headed over there. But the guy outside won't let us in because there is a tournament going on, and only professionals have the pass to let them in. There's another guy in the cutscene that tells us of a guy by the name of Jonka, who is supposed to be participating in the tournament, who is not. So we head to a WoW Bridge to go up to the Sega arcade to try and talk to Jonka to see if he'll give us his pass to get into the tournament. He's playing this UFO catcher, trying to win this red cat. We tell him we'll get it for him. We're not going to get it for him. We cutscene skip him away. We're keeping an eye out for a fight spawn here. I think there's one there. Alright, we'll get rid of it with the vending machines will despawn fight spawns. That's one method we have to get rid of them. Jonka tells us that he owes the Yakuza 5 million yen, and they kidnapped his kid in order to force him to lose the tournament to repay the money. So, I mean, the fastest way to get through this whole mess is to pay them the 5 million yen. We skip a fight, it works out. Sometimes crime does pay, who knew? This guy here in red has got Jonka's kid. So we're going to talk to him and we're going to get the kid back. Only we're going to find out that it's not a kid. It's a cat. Which also sort of explains why Jonka was trying to win the cat from the UFO catcher. I think this fight spawn is actually fine. As long as it doesn't turn around. Okay, we're fine. Because Jonka's standing out here, we just got to talk to him. We give him the cat, and he gives us how to win at Mahjong, which is a cheat item to let us win a game for free later, as well as the key to get into the Mahjong parlor for the tournament. So, the informant is inside here. The informant goes by the name Asaki. So we've got to find him once we get inside. Guy lets us in now. We cannot skip cutscenes of elevators or doors opening, so we just have to sit there and watch it. Quick cutscene skip there, and the bald guy back here is Asaki. We've got to tell him we'll pay whatever he wants. He says 100 grand, we pay him 100 grand. And he tells us that the bullet used is somewhat of a calling card of one of the Tojo clan Omi HQ family captains. He says he won't tell us anymore unless we pay him another 300 grand, so we do. And then he gets a phone call telling us that there's been a bounty put on our head by the Omi HQ, and they're going to collect that instead because it's a lot more. That guy is a jerk. Bro, this fight can be a pain. So, we head on out. We deal with Asaki. He's taken care of. And we now have to get back to the bar to let Kaoru know what we found. Quickest way back to the bar is a taxi. You've already seen that. It's very fast. We're in and out. It drops us off right in front of the bar. Unfortunately, the game has essentially blocked off all taxis at the moment. We're not allowed to taxi. We could run around the other part. The bottom half of this map is just a giant rectangle of Sotenborg. We could run around the other part of the map because that's a little faster. But that's blocked off for one reason or another. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. That was an adventure right there. RGG really wants us to interact with one of the big side events of this game. The Cabaret quest. That was unfortunate. That was... Ugh, that could have been really good. Cabaret is actually a very in-depth minigame. Bunch of people interact with, several sub-stories attached to it. But unfortunately, every round of Cabaret is a 3-minute timer. And any interaction that you make with Cabaret stops that timer. So we just have to let this run down and get out of here as quickly as possible. Where did I lose this kind of time? That's annoying. I'm trying to think. I don't think I lost... I mean, I lost several seconds trying to start this minigame because the game didn't bother accepting the buffer left input, but yeah, is what it is. So we just have to wait for 3 minutes here. Probably take about a minute or so for explanations, things, and then turn it over to the host for about 2 minutes. So kind of recapping what we've had so far in this game. The Korean Mafia that we don't know anything about are the ones who were behind the bombing of Millennium Tower. Ryuji is wanting to defeat the Tojo clan and take over Kamurocho for himself. So we're kind of caught in between. These two are sort of working together, and we're just caught in between. Trying to keep... We were sent on behalf of the Tojo clan to try and make peace and end the hostilities. Obviously that didn't happen. We did a great job there, let me tell you. So as soon as we're done with Cabaret, we actually have to wait once the timer ends because the game is still active for several seconds. after the timer hits 0. So as soon as it transitions into the results screen, we can start mashing to get out of here. We have one cutscene to skip, and then we just have to run outside. The bar is right next door, so we can end the chapter by going inside. A little bit of time loss here is unfortunate. Did I really lose that much just from the from trying to start the game? That's annoying. Alright, so we're coming up here to the end of the game. Timer's up. We're waiting for the transition, and... Alright. We get out of the game as quickly as we can. We skip this cutscene. And we just have to run behind us to leave. Annoying. We just run up in here. And we're out of Chapter 4. Kaoru has decided that we need to go back to Kamurocho to get away from the Omi Alliance right now. So we go back to Kamurocho, we take her there. We take her to a bar we used to visit in the first game called Serena. The bar owner is no longer around due to the events of the first game. And the bar has fallen into disrepair, so we just use the back door so nobody knows that we're there. We can go in the front door, take the elevator upstairs, no problem. The game will not let us open the front door. We don't care about that fight spawn. That phone call is an area trigger that cancels out the fight even if it starts. Couple cutscenes to skip here. And the acting head of the Tojo clan asks us to investigate something that Terada left behind. She gives us this key. We don't know anything about it. But back here on the other side of HQ, there's a guy who tells us that Terada had this little bull statue installed. We investigate it, and there's a keyhole on the nose. We use the key and pick up the Demon Fire Dagger. And you might know, if you know anything about the series, you might know whose dagger that is. It might have looked familiar. Kashiwagi and Lady Dojima stop us on the way out. They asked us to go to Purgatory to find someone there who will help the Tojo clan defend themselves against the Omi Alliance. Before we get out, though, we get attacked by this mysterious assassin. Don't know anything about him. Never gonna learn anything about him because the game just drops the storyline right here. 2 stabs, and we're out. Excuse me. Alright, we'll head back to Kamurocho. And as soon as we get back, we get a cutscene. Kaoru calls us. She didn't exactly have a lot of time to prepare for going to Kamurocho. And, you know, she did kind of get shot at the beginning of the last chapter. You should be fine. Thank you, you didn't start. So she asked us to go pick her up some underwear. So we go to Don Quixote. She actually asked for underwear and beer. We have beer left over from our original playthrough, so we just have to get the underwear, and then we head on back to Serena to give it to her to let her change. So we taxi up north on Tenkaichi Street, and run around to the back to get in. Really would be helpful if the game just lets you walk or use the front door, but I guess that would let people know that you were there. So we give Kaoru the stuff. She takes care of herself. And with Kaoru, we go to Purgatory. Purgatory is a hidden area underneath what used to be West Park and is now the Kamurocho Hills development. West Park was a homeless shelter. Now it's going to be just a giant condominium. Kamurocho Hills, that's not the correct taxi point. That's unfortunate. Fortunately, there's a taxi right here, so it's not the biggest loss. That's not the right one either. Again. It could have been really bad if, you know, we went to a taxi point or a drop-off point where there was no taxi. That's really annoying that we missed taxi twice, but It could have been far worse. So we're heading into Purgatory, where we're going to meet Majima. Majima is no longer a member of the Tojo clan. He's got Majima's construction, and they are building Kamurocho Hills. There's a DLC that was released for Kiwami 2, the remake of Yakuza 2, that kind of goes into the time period between the first and second game, and explains why Majima is no longer a part of the Tojo clan. We're going to use a muscle soda to give us a little more attack before we go into the Coliseum section, because Majima won't help us until we fight in the Coliseum. De Silva is our first opponent. We take out the sword, we stab him, he goes away. Muscle soda is a large attack increase to our already large attack. Second opponent, Gary Buster Holmes. Take out the sword, stab him, he goes away. I'm very mad about those taxis. That's unfortunate. Third fight, you maybe could have seen this one coming, is Majima himself. Now we're going to have to do a little bit more work here to take care of this fight. Because the first two fights we just took, this time we're taking out the sword, we take a couple steps forward, and then we stab. It's that extra step or two that makes all the difference. Quick time event here, and now we have to hit Majima once to trigger his Feel the Heat. And we have to do it. He likes to dodge and be a pain in the ass. Fortunately, kind of lucky that shooting him there actually triggered it. I wasn't sure that was going to work. But he can be a giant jerk and just dodge and knock you all over the place. So that was actually very helpful that hit him immediately. Excuse me. Quick cutscene to skip. He goes back to where we found him before, so we have to run up there. When we get there, we're going to have some cutscenes where we get stopped. A rival construction company is trying to put Majima out of business and take the Kamurocho Hills development for themselves. This is the other large minigame from RGG in this game, Clan Creator. Clan Creator is essentially a top-down, side-scrolling tower defense section in the middle of my action speedrun. We have to protect the construction equipment on the right side of the screen from the enemies that are going to appear. Very specific setup that we're going to try to do this with. And we're going to hope that Clan Creator is nice, because this can lose you a ton of time. Alright, Nishida is going to go right here. Majima over here, the other two there, and the gun guy right there. We're going to wait for them to get close. Gun guy decided not to move. This could be bad. So I didn't mean to start it. Okay, he got there. We're okay. I don't know why the game didn't put me on gun guy when I was supposed to be on gun guy. Now, the key to this whole section is Nishida down here taking all those enemies out by himself. Okay. Come on. Nishida. Alright, we're good. We want to move him over here to deal with the next wave of enemies. We're going to move everybody else over here as well. That's unfortunate. That's a lot of people that got through. This is unfortunately not a good Clan Creator. Okay. It is what it is. We need to get the other two guys up over here. Oh, I thought you were... This started out so well and then went to pot. That's unfortunate. Fortunately, the last wave is just one enemy. We'll take care of him quickly. But that was quite an unfortunate clan creator. We just need to mash out of here as quickly as possible. Some more cutscenes to skip, and then we got to get back to Serena to end the chapter. Oh, that was very unfortunate. Alright, I'm going to get through here as quickly as possible. And then taxi over to Tenkaichi. Yeah, the poor clan creator combined with the missed taxis at the start of the chapter is very unfortunate, but you know what? It honestly could have been a lot worse. Like, clan creator has the potential to be awful, and that was just kind of rough. Alright, so we get a phone call here. Remember, the Omi Alliance kidnapped Daigo Dojima. We get a phone call telling us that they're holding Daigo at the Amano building and to go alone at 1 in the morning. Kaoru points out, we have no idea where the Amano building is. So that's the first step. We have to figure out where the heck it is. We get stopped by Yuya here. Sorry, Yuya, we don't have time today. We're going to taxi up to Theater Square, or rather Theater Alley, because we've got an informant friend up there that should be able to tell us where the Amano building is. He's right around the corner. We're just watching out for fight spawn. We've got to mash through his text. He tells us it's actually just to the north of us, 1 street up. Got to swing around wide because there's that guy right there. You might have seen him. That's a sub-story that takes about 30 to 45 seconds if we run into the trigger, so we just have to dodge it. The 16-bit gang, this is our introduction, they've taken over the Amano building. So we have to deal with them to get inside to rescue Daigo. However, these guys have locked themselves out of the building. Their boss has the key. So we have to go find their boss, who is hiding out over by the Millennium Tower. That muscle soda we used speeds up that first fight, but is really more so for the second fight here. Alright, no fight spawn, so don't have to go out of our way. This is the boss of the 16-bit gang. And we've got these two, and then one other enemy is going to spawn behind us. That's... Okay, that was great. Yeah, because we were a little slow there, I don't know why it didn't pull out my sword. That was fun. The second enemy spawned because we didn't kill the first one fast enough. Is what it is. Now we've got to run down. We're keeping an eye out for a fight spawn. It ran to the... shit. Okay, we were able to despawn it there. That was... We were almost able to run past it. One of them decided not to keep walking to the right and saw us. That's kind of unfortunate. But the more important thing is we didn't get into the fight. So, now that we have the key, we're going to the Amano building. Remember, we were told to go alone, so Kaoru leaves us. And we have this set piece here in the Amano building. We're going to pull out our sword, and we're going to meet the Man in Black. He's going to kick a box at us. The Man in Black has a very specific script. You take out your sword, you stab him, he goes away. Keep that in mind, it's going to happen a few times. Now that we've taken care of him, we want our gun, because the enemies we're going to encounter are fairly weak, and will go down to just a couple of shots. We can punch open the door because it's faster than actually opening it. Shoot this one. Go into our extreme heat. Because when you're in extreme heat, you can't die. And that guy that is at the end there, obviously, with the machine gun almost killed us. Quick heal just to make sure we have enough HP to survive the rest of this. Sword is back out because the man in black is going to make another appearance. And again, same deal. Sword, stab, he goes away. Slash open the door here. We've got a few enemies to deal with while running up a set of fire stairs. Hopefully they don't... You know what? They actually worked out very well. Sometimes they will also get stuck on the... after you defeat them, you'll get stuck on their hitboxes on the stairs, so that was kind of nice. We use a muscle soda because those enemies will not die in one hit otherwise. Quick QTE with the man in black. Now, after we stab him, there's going to be a few seconds before he gets back up for a phase 2. If we're quick, after he gets back up, we can stab him before he goes into his heat mode, which will skip a feel the heat at the end of the fight. Okay, that skipped the feel the heat. So now we can just run to the end of the chapter, just right up here. And shocker, Daigo's not here. Who is here, though, is Kazuki, which you might know that name from the first game. Kazuki owns the host club Stardust, we befriended him in Yuya. But as it turns out, Kazuki's been held hostage by the Korean gang for about 6 months. And a body double has taken his place to run Stardust to be able to use that as a base of operations for the Korean gang. That's who Date was being asked to investigate and go undercover with earlier in the game. So, the body double is taken care of. Real Kazuki unfortunately got shot in the crossfire, along with a Kamurocho detective by the name of Kawara, and Date is carrying him. So we've got to get them both to a doctor to take care of the gunshot wounds. Just like with Kaoru, we're keeping an eye out for the purple. We're going to go this way. So we're avoiding the cots because there's some long conversations that trigger if we get too close to them. There's only the 3, though, so we're clear at this point. And we just have to head down this alley, turn left, and we've made it to Dakimoto. We're going to leave Kazuki there. Doc will take care of the gunshot. Notably, he's just going to leave Kawara sitting on the couch with a gunshot wound. Don't worry about it. We'll get back to that. But Emoto's clinic is right up here. He takes care of Kazuki. Date says we should go somewhere and talk and figure out what the heck is going on. So we're going to go over to a bar by the Millennium Tower called Bantam. This bar was a pivotal plot point in Yakuza 1. At the time, it was called Bacchus. It's just an Irish pub. After the events that happened in Yakuza 1, they renamed to Bantam. Still an Irish pub. Just new name. Don't really need to worry about what happened. If you're interested, you can always play the first game. It's a very interesting plot segment. But we get here, and Date and Kiryu just try and figure out what the heck has happened since Date left to go deal with the Omi Alliance. We get a phone call, an angry phone call from Kaoru. Again, we're supposed to be in her protective custody. So she's supposed to be with us at all times to make sure nobody kills us. Well, we kind of left her behind at Emoto's clinic. So we go back to the clinic. There was a fight spawn right outside the door that thankfully her phone call canceled out. So we go into the clinic. We're going to go get her and take her to the bar. But before we can do that, a couple of guys burst in and try and drag Kazuki off of the operating table. This is Kim and Choi. We don't know anything about them other than the fact that they speak Korean. That's the only thing we know about them. They try to grab Kazuki off the table. They call him Park, which is very odd. Park happened to be the name of the body double. Kawara, the detective, actually is during that fight, he's just sitting there on the couch writhing in pain. Kawara tells us that the Korean gang is known as the Jingwon Mafia. Don't really learn anything more about them right now other than that they're out for revenge for something that happened with the Tojo clan 18 years ago. The stuff from the beginning of the game. We'll get more information on that later. So Kaoru and Kawara meet us at the bar, where Date tells us the bartender has been acting very suspicious. We confront the bartender, and all of a sudden we're fighting members of just random people from Kamurocho. Turns out that Sengoku of the Omi Alliance paid a bunch of people in Kamurocho to kill us. Or at least take us out of the picture. Obviously that didn't work. So, with that taken care of, Kaoru has some information for us, so we're just going to go back to... we're going back to Serena to figure out what the heck we're going to do next. Before we get to Serena, we're going to run into a sub-story trigger, because there's a sub-story right in front of the bar that if we don't hit now, we're going to hit later, so might as well get out of the way. This is Granny White. Granny White, for some reason, has several Chinese triads after her. We don't really know why. We just have to save Granny White. So we take care of that. There's more of the sub-story that we don't care about. And now we just run up into Serena and end the chapter. So, while all this has been happening, we learned that Date is now wanted for murder. Or maybe attempted murder. Because there's some footage of him, of us at the top of the Amano building, some footage of him shooting Kazuki. Now, clearly we know what happened, but the police don't. So, we've got to try and get Date off the hook. So we're going to head to the Millennium Tower and meet with... nope. You know what we're going to do, actually? We're going to do this. We're going to save and load. Because that will despawn the fight spawn. I should have done it a little closer to them. So hopefully they don't respawn. Okay, that's fine. And that's just kind of the last-ditch option, get me away from this fight spawn. There wasn't much I could do there. There is something you could try to... You could try to talk to Kaoru, and hopefully that gives you enough time to sneak by. But I don't think that would have worked in that situation. Kaoru gets us past the guard and gets us into the Millennium Tower. So we run up to talk to the florist. When we get there, though, someone cuts the power to his entire operation. So we have to go downstairs and deal with whoever's down here. There's going to be 7 enemies that spawn down here. We're going to use the muscle soda so that we take them out in one hit. Half the battle is just finding all 7. In general, they will spawn behind Kiryu. That doesn't always happen. There's one... You just ran around the other way. The last one hopefully is here. Okay. They can be a giant pain trying to find, so that was helpful. Now that we've taken care of those guys, we deal with Hayashi, a former Omi Alliance officer. He tried to kidnap Haruka in Yakuza 1. All you need to know is that anybody who tries to kidnap Haruka usually doesn't end up well for them. So, we've really had enough of him. And we just take care of him here, while we have a moment. He grabs these pipes, uses Kali sticks. We've got to take care of him. He likes to dodge our attacks, so we're going to try and pull out the gun and shoot him just like we did Majima to trigger the field of heat. Okay. I think he parried the gunshot somehow. We got lucky that hitting him with the gun triggered the field of heat. So we just let this play out. That we could have done that QTE for a little extra damage. We don't need it. Excuse me. So now that we've got the power back on the building, excuse me, that didn't go down right. The florist tells us he doesn't know anything. He can't help us with Date, but he has found where Daigo's being held. Daigo's being held at a soap land, which is a fancy name for a brothel, called Shangri-La. And if you know anything about the Yakuza series, Shangri-La is a very important place. In Yakuza 1, Majima drives a truck through the entrance to get at us. So the outside looks fine, but the inside is still pretty beat up. So we've got to fight our way upstairs to reach Daigo. Once again, we slash or hit open doors with the weapon because it's faster than opening them. Just the opening animation. Excuse me, that really caught me. No, I got stuck on the hitbox there, which was annoying. Kiryu really does have the Link problem of almost being magnetized to any hitbox that... How are you still alive? Hitbox that exists. I am going to heal slightly just because I don't trust this. We've got several more enemies here. Couple more outside here. Then into this room. We don't care about the guy throwing knives. We just got to get through here as quickly as possible. Alright, and now that we're through here, we pull out the gun. There's another machine gun enemy here. We shoot him before he can shoot us. The failsafe there is to go into the extreme heat so that he can't kill us. That's unfortunate that we missed. But that gets us through, because we just shot him before he was able to get to us. This is one of the last ruins before the end of this set piece. Need to take out this set of enemies. I think I was on top of one of them. One more set fight here before we get to the final fight of the set piece. This time loss is from Hayashi, unfortunately. Where we've got one fight to end the chapter from the people that are holding Daigo hostage. You know what? Pretty good fight. Unfortunate the way Hayashi played out, but that was a pretty good end to it. So, we have rescued Daigo. We don't really know much about what's going on, though, other than Ryuji is trying to take out the Tojo clan. So, Kiryu, Daigo, Date, and Kashiwagi of the Tojo clan all are trying to figure out what's going on. But since they don't know what's going on with Ryuji, Kashiwagi starts talking about the raid on the Jingwan Mafia that's in the past that set this whole thing in motion. Next day is Terada's funeral. We just have to take a cab to the Tojo clan headquarters because the funeral takes precedence over everything. I mean, this is the clan chairman we're talking about. He was kind of important. That fight spawn went the right way. Good. We're going to run on in. When we get inside, there's going to be a couple of cutscenes. mainly focusing on Terada, the guy who was shot. Again, this is the clan chairman, the one that was shot when we were in the graveyard earlier. I mean, we know his face. Few cutscenes, and then there's a disturbance outside. See, Terada was a Omi Alliance officer before he was Tojo Clan chairman. So some of the people from the Omi Alliance decide to show up to pay their respects, which is actually going to be causing a ruckus. This guy with the sword might look familiar. He was one of the enemies in... where did they go? They kind of spread out. That was unfortunate. He was one of the enemies that we fought in the fight in the Grand Hashimoto. He's much more of a pain this time, and we're on low HP, so that was... The extreme heat there was just as a just in case to make sure nothing silly happened. So we find out that Ryuji is making a move on Kamurocho. Majima has been keeping an eye on Kamurocho for us while all this is going on, so we've got to go find him and figure out what's going on. Majima, unfortunately, has not had a very good day. We're not going to see it, but he's actually beat to hell here. And he tells us that there's a traitor within the Tojo clan working with the Omi Alliance to take out the Tojo clan and give the Omi control over Kamurocho. No fight spawn? You are annoying. So now we've got to get back to Tojo HQ as fast as possible. The traitor is Shindo, the second captain of the Nishikiyama family. Nishikiyama was crucial to, the events of Yakuza 1. This fight, we have to wait for this text to disappear before we take everyone out, or the game soft locks. If you take everybody out too fast, that little piece, that little blocker is not, you cannot destroy it. You have to load a save and just move on. Alright. Thankfully those guys like to dodge and be annoying, so thankfully they were not a problem there. We've got one more barrier to take out, and that muscle soda was for that fight as well as Shindo coming up here. So again, we're at very low HP. We've got max attack and bonus attack from the payback ring, plus the muscle soda. So, Shindo, all we have to do is take out the sword, stab him once, and he's dead. He's got several phases that we have to get through, though. So, that was the first phase. This is the end of the second phase. He runs outside in the courtyard. We gotta chase him down. But, I don't want to do his third phase, so we're gonna skip that as well, with the gun. We just have to run out to catch him. We're gonna again punch open the door. And then Shindo is out in this courtyard. I'm just gonna hold R1 and shoot. And he's dead. The gun does not have that kind of range, let me tell you. I don't know why you can do that, but you can. So we've got a little bit of a sword duel here between Shindo and Kiryu. Shindo. We've got a couple of QTEs to take care of, just some mashing QTEs. I don't think we're in kill range if we fail either, but I mean, we don't want to fail either. We are getting close to the point where failing a QTE does mean death. So, we take care of Shindo. I mean, come on, we just slashed him twice in the chest. We saw the blood go flying. He's dead. There's no way he survived. But we've got to go check in on everybody he held hostage to make sure everybody's okay. Unfortunately, we actually have to open the door this time because we're not in the fight. We can't just punch it open. So running back up, we go inside the clan meeting room. Wait, why do we have a QTE? What is he doing here? He just took a sword to the chest twice. How is he alive? Fortunately, his HP is low and... Oh my god, how did I do that? His HP is low enough that one stab is enough to put him into his field of heat. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Why did it pull up the map? I didn't know it could do that. And that is the end of Chapter 9. Alright, Chapter 10. We come back from Tojo Clan HQ. Kaoru's there, and she's got a couple of leads that she's following up on. So we just have to wait for her to finish up. The game wants us to go toward Theater Square. However, if we do, we're going to run into a sub-story trigger. And we should be okay here. Yeah, and we really obviously don't want to deal with that. So we're going to taxi up to Theater Avenue instead. Now, if we move, we're going to hit that trigger. So we just stand here and wait so that the cutscene takes over. This is Takashi. Takashi, we were introduced to in Yakuza 1. He got into a little bit of trouble with where he fell in love with the daughter of a Yakuza family chairman. And we had to help get him out of that trouble. But now, oh, that's, nope, that's not a good fight spawn. Okay, it's gone. That was an unfortunate little bit of time loss, but that's better than getting into the actual fight. Okay. So, he asked us if we know anything about a legendary informant that could help us figure out what's going on with his girlfriend. That legendary informant, of course, is the florist, who, as we also found out in the first game, is Takashi's father. Of course, Takashi doesn't know that. So we're in Yakuza 1, the florist asks us to help out his son. In Yakuza 2, we're asking the florist to help out his son. So the florist says okay, and now we've got to run back over to Shellac, the bar, and tell Takashi that the informant is willing to help him. On this road to the Champion District, there's always going to be a fight spawn somewhere. Unfortunately, that one didn't see me. That would have been nice, because there are some nasty fight spawns here in the Champion District, like you just saw. Like that one. That's a sub-story, though, so I don't... Okay. Okay, didn't want to do that, but you know what? Going into Earth... I forgot this existed. Oh, well. It's still faster than actually dealing with the fight, so it's fine. Okay, so now, before we deal with the second sub-story over there, we need to get back over to Shellac. That's very unfortunate. It is what it is. Sometimes it just happens. So, Takashi, we're going to head back over to Millennium Tower. Turns out, not only was Takashi's girlfriend not cheating on him, she was meeting with her father, who was giving them money to survive because Takashi can't hold down a job. So Takashi feels like a jackass. He goes off to fix things with his girlfriend. Is that a fight spawn? Yes. Okay. Got around there. That's the important thing. We go back over to Serena because Kaoru has found something. And we have to go back over to Sotenbori for what she's found. So several cutscenes to skip. In one of these cutscenes, at the Sotenbori police station, Kiryu and Kaoru get in a little bit of a fight, and Kaoru runs off. He doesn't know where she might have gone, so he goes down to the bar to talk to Tamio, see if she has any idea. Tamio says that Kaoru likes to hang out at a couple of bars. Well, the only bar we know about besides this one is Stigil. So we're going to head up to Stigil and see if Kaoru's there. Take a taxi. That fight spawn's fine. Once we get inside Stigil, we need to talk to the bartender. But right in front of the bartender is an NPC that if we talk to, starts a sub-story. It's about a 45-second conversation, a fight after we leave, and another cutscene after the fight. So we don't want to talk to the NPC at all. There's the bartender. We get away from the NPC as quickly as possible. And the bartender tells us Kaoru just left and went down to the Sotenbori River. Yeah, that was a very unfortunate time. Actually, if that one fight spawn had seen us, we would have been much... It almost might have been better if we'd run into that fight for them to see us, honestly. Just something to think about for the future. Kaoru's out over here, and for some reason, we get attacked. This... If you're on the bridge on the river, there's a special heat action you can do that will throw enemies into the river. It's actually an amazing... Nice double kill. It's actually an amazing thing to watch. It's just a one-hit KO that gets thrown into the river. So, Kaoru hears the sirens, and rather than sit around and wait and deal with the cops, we run off. And decide to meet back in the morning to follow up on the lead that Kaoru's found. We're dodging a couple of sub-stories on this bridge, because we've already hit one in this chapter, and that's enough. And then we're going to run down to the end of the river, and we're going to meet a gentleman by the name of Kazabori. Now, in Yakuza 1, we meet a guy by the name of Uta... Oh, we lost a lot more time for that sub-story than I realized. That's unfortunate. Save and quit might have been the best idea there, but it is what it is. Utabori is the tattoo artist who gave Kiryu the dragon tattoo on his back. Kazabori is essentially his counterpart here in Sotenbori. It's a title, not a name. One of Kazabori's apprentices has stolen his special tattoo design and is going to use it to start up his own tattooing business. So we've got to take care of him and get that back. This is actually a really heartwarming section of the plot. It's actually a very cool little bit to sit and watch. Unfortunately, we don't have time for that. Turns out that Kazabori is the one who gave... That was almost all of our time saved. That's lovely. Kazabori is the one who gave Ryuji his tattoo, the other dragon. So, next morning, Kiryu's going to meet up with Kaoru at Oao Bridge. And Kaoru has learned about a shogi parlor called Kema, where there might be somebody with information on the raid on the Jingwan Mafia headquarters from the past. South Shokufocho, not Southwest. I've done that too many times. And we meet a shogi player here. We ask him about Kema. He hasn't heard anything. Or he doesn't know how to get there, but if we pay him 30 grand, he'll tell us what he knows. So now we head to West Shokufocho. And we've got a very specific set of instructions to do. We're going to run past the Mahjong parlor and into this alleyway here. We're going to try and enter this bar. It's locked. We read this flyer, and then we're going to call the phone number. And then we have 3 specific numbers, 110, 100, 109. We're supposed to go away so that the person we're talking to can unlock the bar, but, I mean, it's just open, so we just go in. We get to this safe. The passcode is 5824. And we get this shareholder's ticket. We don't really know what it is. But somebody calls us and says to go order a Christmas present from Komayan, the Japanese restaurant around the corner. So we're going to Komayan. No fight spawn is good. We could deal with it if there was, but always better not to. Go inside. We order a meal at Komayan, and when we get that meal, we bite into something hard that turns out to be a shogi piece. And that shogi piece ends up being the key to getting into Kema. So, you know, the shogi guy we talked to earlier decides, hey, give me that. I'm going to take it from you, so we just beat him up. And then we get a phone call telling us to find Santa Claus. And Santa Claus will take us to Kema. Gee, that's not exactly a great description. I don't really know who Santa Claus is. Huh. Oh. You know what? I see it now. The red suit. Got it. So we found Kema. We talked to a survivor of the raid. And then we fight Jingwan Mafia members who were looking for the survivor to kill him. Because he's not helping them get revenge for the raid. Pretty good fight. The game tried to screw me there, but that was a pretty good fight. This is the shortest chapter in any Yakuza speedrun. So, now that this is done, Kaoru has reason to believe that she's related to one of the people who was killed in the raid. Turns out that when we were a kid, we were at the raid. We just haven't told anybody. So we tell and this is why Kaoru was trying to get close to the Tojo clan, to find out the story behind her history. So, she finds out we were there, she storms off, and in this cutscene, out of nowhere, someone decides to stab Kiryu. Don't really know why, they just do. So now it's our turn to get to the bar to have Tamio take care of us. Going into first person here because in order to simulate us losing blood, the game makes us drunk. So we don't exactly have great control over how Kiryu walks. Going into first person makes it a little bit easier to walk straight. It's not guaranteed. But it just gives a little bit more control. Now, we are dodging NPCs here again, but instead of conversations like before with Kaoru and Kazuki, if we hit one of these NPCs, it starts a fight. Specifically, one of these that look like fight spawns. So we've got to swing wide to dodge this one, cut back to dodge that one, and then we get to the bar. And actually, running into NPCs is not the worst thing here. Our health gets reset because we wouldn't make it here without it. But running into the NPCs does deal a little bit of damage to you. And that helps us get our HP back down, which we're going to need later. So, while we were stabbed, there was a piece of paper that Tamio found on us that tells us that Haruka's been kidnapped. We head down to get a taxi to go deal with the person who told us he's kidnapped Haruka. While we do that, we run into a sub-story for the Obitarian, because it's right in front of the taxi, and if we didn't do it now, we'd have to do it later. So we were told to go to the golf center alone to meet with the person who kidnapped Haruka. Yes, it's another ambush just like the Amano building earlier. The game likes to put a really, really bad fight spawn right in front of the golf center here. Okay, that's it! Thankfully, it spawned in later, and we were able to get past it. So we gotta deal with this guy. Quick fight. Turns out, he doesn't have Haruka. He was just hired to get us there and beat us up. We get a phone call from Kurakawa from earlier, telling us he's got some information on who kidnapped Haruka. We haven't talked to Kurakawa in a while. Very convenient. Please get by. Please get by. Okay, thank you. That was very worrisome. Very convenient timing that he just calls us out of the blue, right? Well, turns out he was hired to set this whole thing up. He hired the guy from the golf center. And now he's going to try and take us out to collect the bounty. So we're going to take care of this mess. Again, unfortunately, it's way too slow to throw him into the river, which is a lot funnier. So, turns out Kurakawa was hired by Asaki, the bald informant from Chapter 4. So we now have to go find Asaki. We're really hoping for no fight spawn here. That's a fight spawn. We're getting rid of it. That's an incredibly annoying fight spawn that is just close enough to the taxi that you aren't always able to sneak by it into the taxi. So we're just getting rid of it to be safe. Asaki is hiding here in an acupuncture clinic. We don't want to talk to the acupuncturist because that starts a whole side quest. But we track down Asaki and try to figure out what the heck is actually going on here. He just decides to fight us because if he tells us who hired him, he's dead anyways. So he tries to do the job himself. He fails. Turns out he was hired by Sengoku, that guy again, from the Omi Alliance. Because Sengoku is the one who kidnapped Haruka. And he's keeping Haruka at Osaka Castle. Because, of course, the guy by the name of Sengoku has a castle. Keep in mind, people that kidnap Haruka usually doesn't end up well for them. This is Kaneda, one of Sengoku's subordinates. He's a jerk, and we have to take him out first. Ooh, real good fight. Before taking out all of the other enemies, or he summons more. That was actually really good. We've got a QTE here to dodge a floor trap. These spears that pop up, and then we're going to get attacked by some ninjas that are kind of a pain. I don't know what Kiryu was doing for the first one. That was very odd. Okay, the one dodged and then walked into my sword. Thank you. I appreciate that. We've got another floor trap to dodge here. No QTE this time. Just failed miserably at it. And then more ninjas to deal with. You jerk. Alright, so with that section down, we're going to deal with Kuneta again. But it's not going to be just a normal fight. For some reason, we've got a bunch of snipers and a minigun. So we're going to use the minigun to take out Kuneta. Otherwise, of course, he spawns more enemies as we take people out. It's very difficult to control this and have any idea where it's shooting, unfortunately. That actually was pretty good. I'm not upset with that. Chase Kuneta down. One more section with him. With more samurai and ninjas. This is the last thing. We just got to take him out. Didn't need to heat attack him there, but that's better than him dodging or running away. Or guarding, so I'm okay with that. Who's still alive? Oh, I was looking at the wrong door. That's very unfortunate. We're gonna use a muscle soda for the upcoming fight. Yeah, I got turned around and was somehow looking at the wrong door. That's a very unfortunate way to lose time. The Tigers we just have to stab. This is why we use a muscle soda. HP is actually quite a bit higher than normal. So we just got to try and stab him before the attacks. Yeah, that's fine. This QTE will take out the tiger. There's a mashing section here first. And then the rest of the cutscene takes out the tiger. Then, the second one we have to quickly find and stab before it attacks us. As I said, we're not in kill range this time, for once, which helps. But that will then trigger the Feel the Heat to end the fight. That was really good. So, we take out the tiger. This ends it. And I said that the people who kidnap Haruka usually doesn't end up well for them. Well, in the cutscenes we're about to skip, Ryuji has had enough of Sengoku's garbage. And decides he's going to kick Sengoku out the window. That's the last we hear of Sengoku. Ryuji's just had enough of him. That was really good. So, we've rescued Haruka. And we're back in Sotenbori. We get patched back up because our stab wound opened back up. So, with everything that happened, we decided we're going to spend a little time with Haruka to make sure she's okay. After, being kidnapped and everything. So, this is where we would have hit Granny White if we didn't hit it last chapter. So we're just kind of running down here, and we encounter a talent agent who wants to sign Haruka to become an idol. Haruka's 10 years old. There's a lot said about the idol industry here, and in later games. We decide, no, we're not interested. So we decide to head up. We just decide to taxi. Once we get out of the taxi, really, it'll go anywhere. We get a phone call from the talent agent, who isn't taking no for an answer. So we decide to go hear him out, just to make sure that it's nothing that could be good for Haruka, because admittedly, things have been a little nuts with Kiryu's life lately. So, while talking to him, Haruka screams out, a rival talent scout is trying to scoop her up, quite literally, off of the street, and take her as a client instead. Yeah, my HP is still a little high, so let's get it down. I'm okay with that. So we take care of these guys. Our talent scout, Haruka's now very upset because she thinks we were considering leaving her with the talent agent and leaving her in Sotenbori. So the agent is still not taking no for an answer. So we decide to try and go find someone, maybe someone else that he could sign instead. We've heard rumors about a singer that works at Stigil. So we're going to go to the bar, and when we get inside the bar, there's going to be an immediate cutscene of a waitress getting into a fight with a drunk patron. The waitress is the singer that we've heard about. We asked the bartender what's going on. He says because she ran out after the fight with the customer. She ran out to Sotenbori River, right where Kaoru was earlier. So we go check on her, make sure she's okay, and see if she's possibly interested in signing with the talent agent. We hear her voice. She's actually really good. But she's decided to give up on singing and just go back to work at the bar. After hearing her voice, we decided we're not going to let her just give up on her dream. The talent agent, fortunately, comes up here to not take no for an answer again. So we just introduce him to the singer. He signs the singer, and we go on our merry way. Fight spawn, we're going to get rid of you. Oh, you got rid of yourself, thank you. I don't trust that. This has been a lot of time lost for nothing, it's unfortunate. It despawned itself and then immediately respawned itself, and I don't trust that. So we're going to head back to the bar, along with Haruka, and we decided we've had enough of Sotenbori, so we're going to head back to Kamurocho. Now, everything you've seen in this game so far, nothing ever goes wrong when we decide to do something, right? Nothing ever goes wrong. We're just going back to Kamurocho. We get a phone call. And the phone call is from Kamurocho police officer Kurahashi. Except he's not really Kamurocho police officer Kurahashi. He's a survivor of the Jingwan Mafia raid. And has been hiding, waiting for revenge for 18 years. He's kidnapped Date and Daigo. Date and Kawara. And has gathered Kaoru to get his revenge. He wants us there as well because we're basically the representative of the Tojo clan at this point. That was a long stun. Wow. All right, gonna use a muscle soda at the start of this section because that's gonna carry into the end of this fight. If we were a little lower on health, we would do a small heal there because this guy, he throws a grenade at us. And if that grenade goes off, it can probably kill us. Thankfully, we got into the cutscene before the grenade went off, so not a big deal. Speaking of explosives, though, we've got a rocket launcher here. This reminds me of the old, the GoldenEye, the Perfect Dark days of using rocket launchers as melee weapons, because that always works out well. We get blown off of our truck, and on top of the container of the truck, by the way, we're still on the highway. Don't forget about that. And who else is waiting for us other than the man in black? We've got our sword, we still stab, and it's still over. Now, he's trying to throw us off the truck. We end up throwing him off the truck. And he gets run over by the truck. That has to be it. We have to not see him again, right? We'll find out. So Kaoru's heard about what's going on, and we were told to bring Kaoru with us to Millennium Tower where everyone's being held. Now, if we run straight toward the Millennium... Okay, that's actually fine. If we run straight toward the Millennium Tower, there are a group of Jingwan Mafia members waiting to ambush us outside. If we tried to run around and go the back way, there's another group waiting there. However, if we taxi, the drop-off point puts us right in the middle of the two, right outside the range, so we don't get into the fight. And we can just go up to the florist location, which is where Kurahashi is, and deal with his garbage. Alright, he can be a bit of a jerk. With our HP, we should be fine. That shouldn't be an issue. We'll just go ahead and heat action him to be safe. That triggers his field of heat. Mildly annoying because this is a longer field of heat, but it's okay. This is the same as the Ryuji fight, field of heat action. RGG reuses a bunch of the field heats. Daigo's was the same as Majima's earlier. Got 7 separate cutscenes to skip. And we find out here from Kurahashi that Kaoru is the daughter of the leader of the Jingwan Mafia. He tries to shoot her. Kawara jumps in front of the bullet, because it turns out Kawara's Kaoru's father. So Kawara sacrifices himself for Kaoru. Kaoru, understandably upset after everything that just happened. So, she runs off. We find out that several members of the Omi Alliance are making separate moves on Kamurocho to try and take out the Tojo clan. we've got to go track down Kaoru. And she's gone back off to Serena, so we're just heading over there. We're going to have to take care of that in a minute. When I get a chance, we're going to have to take care of that. We should be fine for the end of the run. But we're just going to take care of that here in a moment. Alright, we've got cord here. So, when we took care of Kurahashi, turns out he had a CD on him, with an encrypted CD that had some more information, things that he'd gathered while working for the police about the raid with the Tojo clan. Kaoru decides to try and go break that encryption and see what she can learn. Oh, that's not where I needed to go. We get a phone call from Date telling that was absolutely not where we needed to go. We get a phone call from Date telling us that Kazuki is back awake and has some information for us. Things that he overheard during while he was captured by the Jingwan Mafia. I don't trust that, so we're just going to despawn them. Got a little ahead of myself, unfortunately, and we accidentally went to Sotenbori. Because Kazuki tells us that the Jingwan's revenge plan, they were the ones who bombed the Millennium Tower, but they've also set up 30 other bombs all around Kamurocho. Please let me through, please let me through, please let me through, thank you. One bomb for each member of the Jingwan that was killed during the raid. So we're going to... Date's going to deal with the police, deal with the bombs. We're going to the Tojo clan to get help dealing with Ryuji. So Daigo grabs a bunch of guys and comes with us to Kamurocho to deal with the Omi. But we find out that, you know, Date's still kind of wanted for attempted murder and, you know, and all that going on. So the police aren't exactly keen to listen to him at the moment. Oh my god, please go through. So the police are not going to help with the bombs. So what ends up happening is we're going down to Purgatory to talk to Date and Majima. Or Majima, excuse me, Date and the Florist. The Florist has left Millennium Tower after everything that happened and has gone back to his old haunt underneath Purgatory. So, Date, Majima, Daigo, and the Florist just decided they're going to end up taking care of the bombs all around Kamurocho, while Kiryu protects everybody from the Omi Alliance. Yeah, that was a very unfortunate taxi to Sotenbori. At least most of that is load time, so it doesn't really hurt too much. Loadless. It's kind of unfortunate for RTA, but it is what it is. We just got a phone call from the bartender at Bantam that there are Omi Alliance members beating the hell out of his store. We're going to get another phone call here from Dakimoto that there are Omi Alliance members destroying his clinic. And when we get to the exit here, back into out of Kamurocho Hills, we're going to get a call from Yuya that there are Omi Alliance members destroying Stardust. So Yuya, we know, can take care of himself. So we're going to go over and take care of the bartender first at Bantam. We could do the bartender or Emoto in either order. It just works out better that Emoto's right next to Stardust. So after we do those two, we're going to head over to Stardust and help Yuya. So, quick fight here. These guys can be jerks. I'm going to heal just to be safe. Alright, that worked out better than I thought. But yeah, the guy with the big health bar can be a giant jerk and just kill us out of nowhere. He can just straight combo us to death. So we're now going to head over to Emoto's clinic. I'm going to use a white soda to give us a... It's a smaller attack boost than the muscle soda. But this will carry with us long enough to do Emoto's clinic and Stardust. So another quick fight here. Yeah, and that is, again, it's a smaller strength boost, but it's plenty enough to get through the fight. And it saves a muscle soda for later. Keeps us from having to go restock. So now we're going to head over to Stardust. We are going to save and quit. Or save and load, not save and quit. Because that is a really bad fight spawn that we can't do anything about. Little unfortunate, but that is the uh-oh button to get out of that fight spawn. Gonna go into extreme heat here just to be safe, because again, this fight can be a problem if it chooses to be. It's mainly that guy. Yeah, decent fight. Yeah, that's the taxi to Sotenbori just getting out of order in the notes was unfortunate, as well as dealing having to save and load there. So now we've made it through the next morning. Obviously, the bombs didn't destroy the city, but we've got to find Majima and find out what happened. There's a cutscene right there, by the way, of Majima and Nishida defusing a bomb. That might be one of the best cutscenes in the entire series. It is amazing. So we're going to head on up to Kamurocho Hills, talk to Majima. Date is going to meet us up there, tell us he's got a lead on something that he's checking out, and that we should wait for a phone call from him to tell us when he's figured things out. So now we can hang out more with Haruka, this time in Kamurocho. But Date is going to call us and tell us to meet him at Serena when he's ready. There's not a whole lot for us to do right now. It's a 3-minute timer on this phone call. So just like the calls earlier, we now have to wait for 3 minutes. Once again, going into first person to avoid the idle text boxes. And now we just sit here. This is a great time for the host to chime in. Lots of donations, lots of messages, anything you want. I'm going to take a moment to rest my voice, have something to drink, before we get into the finale. Meanwhile, Haruka's down there. There's a whole set of mini side quests where Haruka will ask you to go to a specific restaurant for a specific meal, or go buy a certain thing from a shop, or play a specific arcade game. It's like 40 or 45 total little things she'll ask you. Some of them are very easy. Some of them are actually very annoying. But it's this nice little thing where you can build up Haruka's trust in you again after everything that's happened. And it's just a nice little break. So we've got about another minute and a half while we're waiting. Starting to run out of drinks over here. Oh. About another minute. Almost there. Because once we get this phone call from Date, he's going to tell us to meet him at Stardust, and we're going into the finale. Or not, excuse me, not meet him at Stardust, meet him at Serena. Which is why we're waiting here. Should be in the next 10 to 15 seconds. Haruka! Haruka is blocking us from getting inside. Serena. Nice time loss, thank you. Kaoru says she wasn't able to find anything off of the CD we got from Kurahashi, but her captain, Besho, has come up from Osaka because he's got some information for us. So she asked us to go meet him at the police department. So before we go to the finale, we're going to go over to the police department. Couple of cutscenes to skip. When we get here, there's a video set up from Kaoru saying she cracked the disc, she knows everything, and that Ryuji is her half-brother. So she takes it upon herself to go deal with Ryuji. Gotta talk to Date. This goes into the finale. And at this point, we're here until we're done. It's one giant set piece to the end of the game. It's the entire city of Kamurocho. We're going to have 5 sets of fights with the Jingwan Mafia. To be safe, going to use a heal and a white soda, and accidentally taunt. Thankfully, it didn't cost us too much. I don't know why we taunted, but whatever. And now we just have to run through the streets of Kamurocho. This is Wave 2. Wave 2 likes to surround me, which is kind of nice. Except for this one guy who was backing up out of nowhere. Wave 3 has some larger enemies that are quite slow. So we're going to try and run around the first wave. You know, actually, we're just going to deal with it. With the white soda, we can take these guys out in one hit. I thought he was dead. That's very annoying. Should have taken my own advice and run around. Wave 4 is going to be a bunch of enemies with knives and guns that like to stay at distance. Oh my goodness, right now. This has been a very interesting finale segment. Wave 5 is right in front of us. However, if we go north and run along Park Boulevard, there's no fight. I don't know if this was intentional by the devs. I don't know if they forgot to put a fight here. But we can skip Wave 5 and just go straight to Kamurocho Hills. These two are basically a refight of Chan and Park, or Kim and Choi earlier, excuse me. Just no feel the heat after. We're not going to risk this. We're going to use a muscle soda, or a white soda and a larger heal, because this can get quite squirrely. We're going to have a bunch of enemies, and a bunch more that are spawning behind me. So we want to take out the guys with the guns first, just to make sure they can't do anything silly. Let everyone else kind of gather together behind me. The white soda gives us a little bit of attack power that we lost by having more HP. A second wave of enemies. Just use the guns to deal with the ones that were far away. And now we're headed up to the final fights. The Man in Black, back for one more. We need a muscle soda here. And 2 stabs. And this is the last Feel the Heat with the Man in Black. Actually, the only one, because we skipped the one earlier. And the 3rd time we've seen this Feel the Heat animation. Alright. We're running upstairs. Our muscle soda will last into the first fight. This is Ryuji 2. We've got a little less damage than normal because our health is quite a bit higher than normal. But the muscle soda will help to make up for that. That was the wrong button. These sets of inputs, it kind of goes around like a square on the face buttons. Ryuji is being a little bit annoying there. Please, game. This Feel the Heat, and we're through Ryuji 2. Several cutscenes coming up after this. Now, we find out earlier in the game that there were two survivors of the Tojo Clan raid on the Jingwan Mafia. 3. We found a 3rd later they didn't know about. Kurahashi was one. This guy, Terada, is the other. He faked his death earlier to set this whole plan in motion. So this is Daejin Kim. His garbage is annoying. We intentionally fail the first quick time event. We do the second. And then we just have to hit him once to get in to Feel the Heat. And this is the other reused Feel the Heat. And this is the end of the Jingwan Mafia. Now, of course, everybody's plans now start to come out. Chairman Goda is killed. Ryuji is shot. A member of the Omi Alliance is killed. And now we have the final fight with Ryuji. We're going to use another muscle soda here. This is going to be close, actually. It's going to be very close. I don't know. We've got a quick time event here. I think we PB. This is going to be very close. Okay, the final QTE is a one-hit KO. We have to hit it, or we die and the run ends. So we're going to hit this, and time! Little bit of a rough finale, but we got there. Good run. Okay run. Couple of rough spots, but overall pretty good run. So this is Yakuza Kiwami 2, New Game Plus Legend. Appreciate the opportunity to submit to your marathon, and thank you very much for considering me, and hopefully I will have the opportunity to show this off. Thank you very much for watching.